So this is the first
First
episode.
Wow.
Episode here. I know.
Wow.
And I just think, you know, everybody's got an interesting story, and you're one of those guys to me that has one of those interesting stories. So whenever I think of Joe Arnold, like I think fun.
Okay, yeah.
You're always smiling.
Well.
You seem to never have a bad day. Now, we can call other people and I guess ask them.
Yeah.
But you're always up for whatever.
Yes.
You're a guy that still is out there, energetic. You know everybody. You're still playing basketball at a higher pace than I do.
4 games yesterday. Yeah.
And I know that, you know, that you're doing the baseball catch thing, and I want to talk about that too.
Right.
But really, I guess, how accurate is my thought of what you are? Yeah, on all that.
Yeah.
How accurate is that, do you think?
I think it's very accurate. Yeah. When you started with fun, that kind of sets the pace for everything else. Because I remember taking it when I was teaching. I took a class during the summer, and it was a middle school teacher.
Yeah.
You know, we had to take these classes to continue on. And he comes and he goes, "Okay, everybody, because I don't, you know, probably what I'm going to teach you is not going to mean anything. You're going to forget all about this.
Yeah.
Here's the most important words: have fun every day. In school, have fun every day." I remember writing those down. That's perfect, because that's what you got to do. Especially, you know, the kids need to feel like they belong or want to be there. So you got to have fun too, because if you're not having fun,
I agree with
they're
that.
not going to have fun. So if you figure it out where you can both have fun. What a great day.
So when did you know you wanted to be a teacher? Because like when you got so you're from Ohio, but then you moved to Bolivar. What brought you to Bolivar? SVU? Yeah. And so did you come here knowing you wanted to be a teacher?
Yeah, because I never wanted to be a teacher. I remember as a kid, you know, growing up, I never wanted to be a teacher. I was not something. I mean, I liked school. I was good at it. But I never wanted to be a teacher. But after I became a Christian, and then I was, you know, Jan and I were going to the church. Her dad was pastor, and the church started a small Christian school. Never had more than 30 students, K through 12. So, you know, it was a what do they call it? It was not accredited, but it was legal in Ohio, and you didn't have to have accredited teachers or anything. Well, I was working for a landscaper, for a construction company. Those things would come and go. And he asked me, so I got laid off from the landscaper as winter sets in. The winter's up there is all about snow and cold.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to come in and be the boys' PE teacher twice a week? And so I was like, well, I got time.
Yeah.
So you got kindergarten through 12th grade boys. Well, maybe not every grade level. And we would play all these fun games. So if we could get outside, we'd play flag football. If we couldn't, in the back of the church, there's a big area, a wide area behind the pews. We'd set up plywood. We'd play crab soccer and dodgeball, and I was playing with them every time. Twice a week I was doing it. I thought, this is a blast. Well, the next year they needed what was known as a supervisor, which is the teaching position.
Yeah.
So Jan's dad, who was kind of in charge of school, asked me if I wanted to do it. I said, sure, I'll do that. So I went to the training and did it for a year, and I liked it. And then I did it for another year, and then he left because he was like the principal of school, and I became like the supervisor / principal of the small school. I'm like, you know what, if God wants me to be a teacher, I probably should get my degree. And then, so the director of missions in the Cleveland area, his name was Dennis Betts. He used to be the pastor of Southern Hills Church here, so he knew all about SVU. So we contacted him and said, hey, do you recommend any, you know, Baptist colleges? And he goes, yeah, I got a whole list here. He goes, well, I'm going to highly recommend SVU because their education department is really good. So we went on his base, and we came here and visited school. And
So was your plan to stay here?
not necessarily.
You were going to try because
no.
another thing that I associate with you is family.
Yes,
right? You have a big family,
right?
And you're the only ones that. Well, you had others that moved in, right?
Yeah, all of Jan's family seemed to come and go at one time or another. Everybody was here at some point. My family would come visit, but they're all real entrenched in the Cleveland area. You know, my sisters, my aunts, everybody's in that area. So that still gives me lots of good reasons to go back there.
I think Joe talks about being able to go back and everybody is there. Like when you used to visit, I guess during the summer.
We'd have because they were all very close together. They weren't really spread out. Yeah. So all his cousins, he was really close with his cousins because we'd always go back there and have a big gathering, whatever it was, whatever the occasion. Like now, my sisters put on what they call the Drei Schwestern Oktoberfest, which means Three Sisters Oktoberfest. Oh, okay. Because we're all, all our grandparents are German, so it's the German heritage, and they want to honor that heritage by creating their own Oktoberfest. They've been doing it for years. Okay. It's gotten so big, over 100 people show up, friends and family. They put up big tents. They make all the German recipes. So we go back for that. In fact, we're going back on October 1st because my one nephew, who now bought a place with 5 acres, that's the perfect place. So we're going back because you get to see a lot of people.
I think that's, and to me, I always thought that was neat because, like, for us, for my family, like, it's us.
Right.
Right here. Like,
right.
I don't remember family reunions, maybe one, you know, with grandparents.
Yes.
But I have a cousin on the East Coast, and I have a couple of other cousins that I never ever see. That's
right.
it. Like, it's
right.
us. For Christmas, it's us.
Yeah.
For Thanksgiving, it's us. And so to be a part of a bigger thing like that like I said, Joe still talks really, really fondly about. I think
well,
that's pretty
we
special.
took the, you know, even when we moved here, we were 800 miles away.
Yeah.
But we didn't feel like we were separated from them because we would go back there. It's probably some years 6 times a year go back. And if it wasn't all of us, you know, like Joey and I went back one time. My grandmother, who's still alive, I found out she was sick. You know, she wasn't.
She's still alive?
No, she's not.
Oh,
she's gone now, but she was at the time. Joey was probably, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something like that. So I said, let's go see Grandma Schottner. She lived 2 doors away from where I grew up. Same neighborhood, same road, knew all the neighbors and everything. So we took off, didn't tell her we were coming. We took off, we drove 800 miles. We show up on her front porch. Hey, Grandma. Joey, what are you doing? Joey! She has this strong German accent. What are you doing? What's wrong? Well, we heard you weren't feeling well. We came to see you. No! Joey, what's wrong? There must have been a bigger reason than that.
Right.
So we stayed for like 2 days. It was a weekend. Did it on a Friday, Saturday. And then we find out this huge snowstorm's coming in on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we took off Sunday morning to get ahead. So we were only there for like a day and a half.
Wow.
But just to go, you know, that's the kind of things we did because we would sneak back there numbers of times.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was important. You know, it's a niece's or nephew's wedding or a cousin's, whatever, anything like that, just to keep that connection. I think that's why the kids, you know, Joey and Jolette, now it hasn't been as much lately, only because they've got kids and things going on too.
Yeah.
But they were well connected with the family back there because we were there all the time.
Yeah. So, growing up, and I was going to tie this bow because I think you should hear it too. But growing up, I used to love staying the night at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when you guys were in that little house right there on the corner. But it was one of the most fun places to go to
Oh, you're talking about on Hartford, that tiny house.
Yeah,
yes.
the little house.
Oh, the little house,
you had to build the loft beds for the kids so you could still walk through the hall.
Yes.
And Joey, I was asking Joey about that. And it's like it's a hallway, and that was the only bathroom back there. And everybody had to go in and out of there. But that's the first time I had honey, I think, on like cornflakes or Wheaties. It's the first time I had ketchup on scrambled eggs. It's just it was fun. It was fun, but it was, you know, dunking on that tree, on the bowl that was nailed to the tree outside or whatever. Like, it was just fun.
Did you play the football game in the bedroom where he would take, I don't know if you or somebody else, take like old clothes and stuff them in to make padding and then play football inside underneath the beds?
But I mean, that always struck me. Like, it's a tiny house.
It was
no space, but it was
incredible.
You didn't want for anything.
Well,
like everything was great.
It was. We thought, you know, we look back on those times because we didn't have a whole lot. I mean, there was times where we ate popcorn for dinner for a while. The kids loved it. That's because we had just moved into town, didn't have jobs yet.
Yeah.
And Janet got a job working at Gold Rush, that restaurant.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And she came in with $5 in tips the first night. I mean, bread, milk, and eggs. Went to the store. We thought, this is great. I mean, not that we were, you know, we probably did not have the popcorn, but the kids thought that was great on popcorn for dinner. So, you know, those years where you didn't have a whole lot were really fun because you make do with what was there.
But I think that's I love it because to see Joe now.
Yeah.
He still shares some of that
he does.
philosophy, even though he's not living in a tiny house.
No, he doesn't.
It's not a tiny house.
That was it was a $75 a month house. For 3 years going to school, we could afford that, you know, college.
But he has the same mentality.
He does,
those things that you did with the kids, I don't see Joe as much, but those things that you did with the kids, man, you still see Joe living that.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking that.
He still likes to have fun and do things.
Exactly. Right, and would do anything for anybody, kind of a guy, just go with the flow, kind of a guy, and I love it.
I totally agree with you.
One of my best friends.
I feel really good about that.
So
I feel that way.
So you came here, you went to school, you became a teacher, and you taught 4th grade.
Yep, 4th grade for 2 years, and then 5th grade for 19 years.
Okay, so you taught for 21 years.
21 years,
because it feels like from the outside looking in, you stopped early.
I did. Well, because I could.
Okay.
It wasn't that I had to. I mean, I loved it. I still loved it when I was doing it.
Because you were at the time too. You were one of the only male teachers, I think.
There was two of us, Aaron Francisco
Okay.
and myself. Oh, Pat Johnson was the PE teacher.
Pat Johnson. Okay.
So there was three of us, but
So why did you quit at the time?
retire.
You retired. Why did you?
Because
you could.
I could, yeah. So Pat Johnson was to the point he was going to retire. I was going to go another couple years maybe, but Pat said, "I'm going to retire this year." I said, "You can't retire without me. I got to figure out a way to retire." So they have the rule of 80 for retirement. Yeah. So I had 21 years teaching. I was 54. I was going to be 54, which left me a little short. But they came up with this thing where you could purchase, like if you had taught previously, quit because like for women to get pregnant or something else, came back and then took your money out, you could pay to put that back in. That wasn't my case, but then they came up with this other thing for a lot of people like me who paid into Social Security from the time I was 16 all the way to 33, because I didn't start teaching until I was 33. Yeah. Those are all Social Security years. And then after I started teaching, all the odd jobs I would do in the summer, that's self-employed Social Security. Yeah. So I was fully vested. Most teachers aren't because they don't pay Social Security. Then the retirement started sending me information and said you could purchase up to 5 Social Security years and add it to your retirement if you want to. So Jan and I started looking at it thinking, I had an annuity that I'd started with the school system years ago, so there was money in there that I could roll over. So by purchasing 4.2 years and my age and the 21 years, it equaled 80. Why not? That way I'm still young enough where I could do other things. Yeah. I still enjoy it. I would not want to be one of those teachers, because I've seen some, where you get to the point where it's like, that you probably shouldn't be. You're past where you're being here because you don't seem like you enjoy it as much. So it's like getting out while it was still enjoyable.
Yeah, so you're one of the stereotypical people that retired, but you're not sitting around.
No. And that was another thing. I knew that, we had to purchase the 4 years, there was a cost to that. But I knew so that allowed me to retire 2 years earlier than the rule of 80 would have kicked in. Mm-hmm. So, but that gave me, I knew I was going to be working for myself. I knew I had plenty of, and I like doing that kind of work too. Yeah. So I knew that was going to be there for me, make the money that way, but have the freedom to work or not work, go or not go. One of the first things we did after retiring was we took a 2-week trip to New England. We didn't plan anything. In the fall, love it. Everybody else was going back to school. We went to New England and drove around for 2 weeks. That was fantastic. Yeah. We loved doing that. Yeah. And all the European trips we took, because now we can do it. Yeah. Because I'm available. If I'm busy, it's because I want to be, not because I have to be. Yeah. So there's a huge difference in that. Yeah. Financially, we were, our house was paid for. We had rental property that was almost paid for. And like the teacher's retirement, I was going to be working. Janet had her massage therapy business, which was doing well. So we knew financially it was going to be an issue, and we were able to do other things like take these trips to Germany to visit the villages where my grandparents came from, and meet family over there, which was totally awesome. I loved doing that. So that was one of our first trips over there. I don't know if I told you that was, we took a month. And we took backpacks. Oh. And all we did was carry stuff in our backpacks. So we get off the plane in Frankfurt, and we look at each other and go, hey, we're here. What do we do now? I knew some German from taking it in class and from Rosetta Stone. Yeah. I felt like I knew enough, and so it's like, okay, we got to find the right train. Because the trains didn't go into the villages; they were so small. So at one point you have to get off the train, and then you have to, which is okay over there. Hiking is very popular. So, and these villages are small, and Bavaria has wide open spaces. So you could hike for miles and really not, see, or not like here where you have farm, fences, barns, wide open. So we felt very comfortable doing that, and that was awesome. We did that for 3 weeks. We called it, I wrote in my little thing, it was like 30 trains in 30 days, because we took so many trains and then did a lot. Wow. But it was a blast. We totally enjoyed, and we've gone back a number of other times. Because, once you meet family over there, you feel like, I gotta go back and see it again. Yeah,
because then you're gonna be stuck with that. I wish I would have. Yes. I don't want to have I wish I would have, or I should have done.
After we did it the first time, we were there we hiked around Germany and Switzerland and Italy for 3 weeks, and then we took a cruise around. When we got to that cruise, we took those backpacks up and threw them in the corner and said, we really want to touch those for a week. Yeah, just hang out. But when I got back home, my 3 sisters, I said, you got to go back with me. You got to come back and meet the family, meet our parents' cousins, our second cousins, visit in the homes of our grandparents. Two of my sisters did that with me.
Yeah.
The third sister, she's kind of a homebody. She's afraid to even leave the county.
Yeah.
So she didn't go. But I think now she wishes she would have,
Yeah.
because it was an awesome.
So talk about the new thing that you're doing now, the baseball thing.
The baseball thing, yeah.
Yeah. What day are you on now? Like
This is today. Whoever's going to be today. I know it's raining, so I don't know if we can, but I'm willing to. I need a catch for the day. 68.
68. Wow. So 68 days in a row, you played catch with somebody different.
Somebody different.
And the goal is 365 of those days, right?
Yes.
So this was based on a book.
Based on a book which I have not read yet, a year's worth of playing catch, I intend to, and then also the story of the high school boy who died after playing a game or practice or something with the exact same name as the author of the book.
So what if it, because I think it's cool, but what is it that motivates you to want to do that? Why?
Well, let's go back to that fun word. Because the guy who wrote the book, I found out that I went online, did a little checking. Maybe I told you this too. He got a Christmas 4 or 5 years ago. His daughter gave him a baseball glove,
right,
with a note that said, "Hey, Dad, you want to play catch?" So he decided to do that, and they show a picture of him playing catch in the snow. And I think he started on January 1st, went through the whole year. I don't know if there was some other purpose for it or not, but he ended up writing a book about it. And then, of course, then after the high schooler died, he sent his book to the dad, and the dad, with a little note, sympathy note in there, and the dad read it and decided, I'm going to honor my son. Okay. So I guess in a way, when I do it, I tell the story, and then people know, this guy wrote a book, and there's a father who's honoring his son by playing catch. So not my book, not my son, and I just decided, whenever Joey and Mason and I get together, we're always playing catch. And it's always been fun. I remember playing catch with my dad, how much fun that was. So, and to me, like for baseball in general, when I watch little kids play or watch anybody play, to me the number one thing that will make you a better player is just playing catch. Learning how to throw the ball and long toss and catch and scoop it in, whatever, that's going to make you a better player. So it was just fun. I don't have any, I'm jotting it down in a little journal my sister gave me after she realized I was doing it. She said, "Here, you need to write this stuff down." So I'm doing that. I go back and flip through and read stories. But when you talk about stories, I've heard some really cool stories from people. So it's just, for me, it's a fun thing.
I think I share that with you, and I'm all about the experience.
Right.
Let's make the experience. Let's make the moment. Let's make a memory, and that's going to be, sometimes there's a cost to that memory, or sometimes there's maybe it doesn't seem like that was the best decision at first, but man, what a story. What a story we have now, and I love that.
And who knows what's going to happen, as it gets farther down the road, it's going to be a little more difficult. I'm going to run out of people I really know, although, maybe more catching with strangers is an okay thing.
I think it's okay.
I do too. I like the randomness of it. I'm going to be looking for other random, I'll be planning ahead, but it'll be somewhat random. Yeah. And I've got people like you who say, "Hey, come over."
Yeah, we've got a bunch of kids.
John Woods has got, he and 2 more kids.
You should have asked Clint when he was here.
Oh, good. Yeah, see, I was at, who was it? Wes Kemp's house, Wes Kemp. And we were working on his basement, we were doing a shower, and what's his name? Aaron Weaver? He shows up, I didn't even really know who he was, to borrow his trailer, his truck. So we're talking, I didn't even know him. I said, "Hey, you got a few minutes before you go?" He goes, "You need help doing something?" I said, "Yeah, I need something to play catch with." So we're in the driveway, this guy just met, we're playing catch. He's left-handed, he's using my glove. And then, so he does it, I guess it's like the gym addict.
The gym addict,
takes it up, and so we're doing that. And then he tells me, and here's what was cool thing about it. He said when he was a college senior, he took a bunch of high school seniors, and they went on a 14-day, 11-game Major League Baseball trip.
Wow.
I know.
That's cool.
That's incredible. He's telling me about that, where they went. They even went to Cleveland. They went all over the place. Took in 11 different stadiums in 14 days.
Making memories.
It is. Just to think, because, Joey and I and Mason did that with Philadelphia, Hall of Fame, Cleveland, Cubs. Yeah. And we even saw a game at the Hall of Fame. They usually have a little game going on, like a minor league game or something. So we did that, but that was 4 days. And I thought, man, that's so cool. You did that in 14 days.
All right, so let me ask you one more question. We'll wrap up. So I used words to describe you. Okay. What words would you use to describe you, or want people to use to describe you? That might be 2 different things. different versions, right?
Maybe. I definitely. You start off with fun, and I totally think that's important.
Yeah.
You know, Jan and I talked about that too. That's what makes for a good marriage, just having fun, the humor part of it. You know, maybe not taking a lot of things too seriously. Like, you know, you can take life a lot more seriously, or you can go the other direction.
Yeah.
So, you know, we try to do that. How about you know, my faith is a very important thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's guided me, even as far as being a teacher and all that.
Yeah.
Like that's what God wanted me to be. So.
Yeah.
And everything we do with our family, you know, the raising of our kids and all that. So being faithful to God. I feel like we're still pretty energetic.
Yeah, energetic.
And youthful in thought. And
I agree.
You know, it's a shirt that Joe like gave me. The older I get, the better I was, something like that. She's always giving me these shirts with funny things on it. Here, Dad, here's another shirt you wear on the basketball court.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna wear that on the basketball court. Come on.
Trying to intimidate people out here. What are you
The
doing?
one she gave me is like, yeah, never underestimate an old man with a basketball. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give that to one of my friends.
Well,
so those. I mean, I don't know if that's enough.
No, I think it's
and whatever you
it's
said, I
great,
thought when you were describing it. I thought that's
what you said.
That sounded pretty good,
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought a lot of you, and so I appreciate you doing this. And hopefully the camera's still recording. Hopefully that worked. We might have to redo it again.
Okay,
but,
cool. I mean, I think it's a great idea what you're doing too. This is fantastic because you get to, like you said, the stories, the experience that people have, and I'm discovering it doesn't matter.
You don't have to be a celebrity.
No, you don't have to. In fact, it's better, I think, if you're not. Yeah, I like these stories from everyday people because those stories. Everybody has a good story.
Yeah,
that's fun. So that's what's fun.
I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun.